Understanding the Life of Pablo is brought to you by Skillshare. The first 500 people to sign up will get 2 months for free at the link in the description. This is a story about one of my favorite albums by perhaps the most beloved rapper of all time. It begins in late 2013 when Kanye West sat down to write his 7th record, hot off the release of his harsh industrial masterpiece, Yeezus. The album would change immensely over the course of 3 years, but when it was finally finished, 4 months after release in fact, we were left with one of the most powerful statements Kanye had ever made, the life of Pablo. Let's start at the beginning. It's June 2013, and Kanye is at a transitional point in his life. His first daughter was born 3 days before the release of Yeezus, an intentionally off-putting album full of industrial beats, hypersexuality, and humongous ego. The album was effectively Kanye's bachelor party. Engaged and with a baby to take care of, the new responsibilities and expectations thrust upon him would change his life and his music forever. The first song Kanye released after Yeezus, called Only One, was a collaboration with Paul McCartney. The rock star provided electronically manipulated backing vocals and keyboards to the single. Kanye claimed that he had no recollection of singing the ballad, and that his mother's spirit had channeled through him to address his year-old daughter, North. Though the single never made it to an album, it set the tone for the next stage of Kanye's career. The first version of Kanye's 7th album to be announced was called So Help Me God. In addition to Only One, the singles All Day and 4-5 Seconds supported the album. None of these songs actually made it onto the final record, but Kanye and about 60 of his closest friends famously performed All Day at the 2015 Brit Awards. The album's title was changed to Swish and later Waves before the final title, The Life of Pablo, was announced just days before release. The album's final cover art was released in advance as well, and it presented us with a microcosm of Kanye's mind. The cover art depicts a wedding and a swimsuit model juxtaposed against each other, while the phrases "the life of Pablo" and "which one" compose the background of the image. When the art was first revealed, it actually got a lot of backlash from people. They compared it to Kanye's cover art from albums past and called it lazy and minimalistic. But despite its simple, flat design, the cover of The Life of Pablo actually communicates exactly what it needs to. This album finds Kanye at a crossroads. For the first time in his career, he's forced to face his own personality, habits, and desires. The Life of Pablo was heard by the public for the first time at Madison Square Garden on February 11th, 2016, just 3 days before it was released to the general public. Kanye brought with him to the event the Kardashians, Pusha T, Kid Cudi, Travis Scott, and thousands of attendees. The event would become one of Kanye's most iconic moments to date, a truly triumphant victory for a rapper turned fashion designer turned fine artist. And if Yeezus is Kanye's bachelor party, Pablo is the hangover. Having a family changes people, and for someone like Kanye West, this transition was no easy pill to swallow. On Pablo, he constantly looks both back at his old ways and forward to his new life of responsibility and stability. The 9th track, I Love Kanye, addresses his new lifestyle directly, reflecting on the many ways his perception has changed over the years. The title, The Life of Pablo, tells us a lot about the album as well. The name Pablo doesn't refer to anyone specific right off the bat, but the few Pablos that do come to mind all relate to Kanye in one way or another. Kanye actually went on record to talk about the meaning of the album's title in early 2016. He said, "The Apostle Paul inspired and was the strongest influencer of Christianity. Pablo Escobar was the biggest mover of product, and Pablo Picasso was the biggest mover of art. And that mix between message, art, and product is the life of Pablo." One of the album's defining characteristics is that, for once, it wasn't musically experimental. Kanye's first 6 albums were leaps and bounds ahead of their predecessors. He seemed to have innovation down to a science. But Pablo instead is a greatest hits of sorts. It combines all the musical styles of Kanye's previous work into one big, sprawling landscape. At 20 tracks, he explores more styles on one project than ever before. Ultralight Beam's gospel choir sounds like something straight out of Late Registration, while Wolves could have easily been cut from Yeezus. Despite Pablo's less outlandish sound, its format is wholly unique. Even 6 months after its release, Kanye continued updating songs, isolating vocals, changing lines, updating mixes, and even finally adding an entirely new song to the album. The retroactively added Saint Pablo focuses on Kanye's insecurities and inner thoughts, as well as his perspective on his own public perception. With the help of Sampha's singing on the hook, Saint Pablo is an incredibly powerful and lucid moment for Kanye West. But I think perhaps the most important moment on the entire album is the 2-part song Father Stretch My Hands. The 4-minute composition starts as a gospel song about hooking up with models, turns into a deeply emotional dance track focusing on the death of Kanye's mother, and it then turns into a mashup of the smash hit Panda featuring mumble rapper Designer. It ends with a calming vocoder passage, tying the song together in a way that in my mind represents the spirit of the album as a whole.
Lost my soul, driving fast, lost control, off the road, jaw was broke, remember we always broke, remember I'm...
The Life of Pablo captures Kanye's life in writing and sound. His massive ego, his faith, his family and friends, his hypersexuality and obsession with women, even his love for his mother. All of that and more is present. As a result, the album is often called mess innovative. But if there's any larger theme behind the variety of ideas present on Pablo, it's this. Kanye reflects on the importance of faith, family, and love. The album is soulful and radiant, yet in many ways plagued by Kanye's past, and of course, his ego. In a way, Pablo is his road to redemption, but at the same time it captures the ugliest parts of his psyche. Even while he domesticates himself, Kanye remains deeply flawed, somewhat disturbed, and almost definitely a maniac. But I think we all know exactly what he would say to that.
Name one genius that ain't crazy.
While we wait to hear what Kanye does next, I recommend picking up a few new skills on Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community for creators with over 25,000 classes in design, music production, and more. You can learn skills that will greatly improve your opportunities and help you do the work you love. Whether you want to fuel your curiosity, creativity, or even your career, Skillshare is the perfect place to keep you learning and thriving in 2019. I personally want to recommend Young Guru's Learn How to Mix Music class, though they have classes for almost every aspect of hip-hop production and writing. And best of all, it's super affordable. Skillshare's premium membership gives you unlimited access to classes for under $10 a month if you sign up for an annual membership. So join the millions of Skillshare students today with a special offer just for my viewers. The first 500 people to click the link in the description will get 2 months of unlimited access for free.